Hey everyone, it's Melissa. If you're new here, I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kiddos. I have an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And we are between our 4th and 5th year of homeschooling. So we're just gonna be coming up on our 5th year of homeschooling. And today is a collaboration with Davene with Calm in the Chaos and Shauna from Homegrown Homeschool. We are sharing what we wish we knew before we started homeschooling. So my biggest thing that I wish, so I should have a video coming out very shortly about how to homeschool in Wisconsin. And some of those rules were hours, not days, for homeschooling. And I really struggled with that for some reason. I, at first, really thought that I had to go through with a planner and mark down every single hour of what we were doing. Because it was by hour. We had to have 875 or something like that hours. And it's not that big of a deal, but it became this huge issue for me. I was constantly marking down every 15 minutes we did here, 30 minutes there, 20 minutes of all about reading. And I felt like I was adding things just to write down the number. So we played outside, I'd write down how long we played outside for. She cleaned her room, I'd write down a home ec, or she would help me bake and I'd write down home ec. And I was tracking every single hour, every single minute of our day, our book learning, our everything. And it just became this overwhelming nightmare for me. And then I finally realized one day that all I have to actually do is write down how many hours we homeschooled that day. So typically if we do book work, I write down 5 hours. If we do something like go to the zoo or go on a nature hike or do something else that's still learning but not necessarily book work, I usually write down 3 hours. And that's as long as we actually spent at least 3 hours doing it. Most of the time we spend way more than 3 and 5 hours doing stuff. However, it made it so much easier for me. And then I just track it in the same spot that I track our attendance. I have one sheet of paper, and that sheet of paper I mark with the hour, however many hours we worked or did homeschool that day. Pups have been in their crates all day today while I was at the farm helping my mom. And I also went and got my nails done with my mom today, so they were in their crate a lot. So they are being loud and obnoxious, and they're chewing on stuff and they're being crazy. They're being pups basically. So I'm sorry if they're being loud and obnoxious. But what I was saying was, as I just track it all on one sheet now, I have one sheet of paper now that I track our attendance and our hours at the same exact time. I do have a video coming up on, I want to say Friday, and that's my planner collaboration that I'm doing with Nikki. So I will, of course, if you want to see that, go ahead and like and subscribe so you don't miss it. Hit the little notification bell so you don't miss that video. And that will go over that sheet of paper that I use to track my hours in more detail. But that was one of the biggest things I wish I knew before I started homeschooling. I also wish I knew about Timberdoodle sooner. So our very first year of homeschooling was at the beginning of, or well, ish through COVID. My daughter was in pre-K, my son was teeny tiny little baby, and I still had a daycare open at the time. And I had honestly wished I had known about homeschooling sooner. We would have never waited for COVID to happen to start homeschooling. I knew of homeschooling, but it's just not something people did. So when she got sent home, one of her teachers kept just being silly. She was saying, don't take Callie and homeschool her. We'll miss her too much. And it just, honestly, I never even dawned on me to homeschool until she started sending those little messages just being silly. And I was like, well, maybe. I was originally answered back, no, never. Why would I do that? And then, the more time she sent it, the more I was like, now wait a minute. I have a curriculum every day for my daycare kids. We go through curriculum from start to finish. It's basically pre-K. Why can't I homeschool pre-K? So, and the homeschool stuff they were the school stuff they were sending home when COVID started was for pre-K was just, it was a nightmare. It wasn't the teacher's fault at all. Her teachers were amazing. It was nothing they did. They did their best considering they just woke up one day and realized they weren't ever going back to school that year. So they did their best. And of course, they're pre-K kids. I mean, it's hard to do things online. Those kids didn't have laptops or tablets or anything. and it was a nightmare. So, and then her kindergarten year, I decided not to send her back and to go ahead and do school, homeschool that year. That went wonderfully. I kind of knew much more what I was doing. I didn't have as much of a complete craziness. That is the year that I discovered Night Zookeeper. They are amazing. I kind of wish I'd known them sooner too. Night Zookeeper is so much fun for Callie. She adores it. So Riker will be starting Night Zookeeper in the next year or two. I actually started Callie young on Night Zookeeper. They have since got a younger version where there's a younger age, which is great. And if you don't know what Night Zookeeper is, I can scroll it here too. I also have a 50% discount. I don't know which one's active right now. There's either 55 or 50 is active right now, and I will leave that in the description box below for a full year of Night Zookeeper, and it renews at that 50 or 55% off depending on which link is active right now. It renews at that every year, so I've been using my 50% off discount code that I got from Shauna from Making Everyday Magic since Callie was in kindergarten now. So I love it. It's great. It's fun for Callie. She's helping her with her spelling. It's helping her with her writing because they remind her that she forgot punctuation, or they remind her that she forgot a verb or an adverb. They remind her to make sure she capitalizes. Like, it prompts her when she hasn't added enough detail, or if she forgot a period anywhere or an exclamation point. It prompts her if she's forgotten a capital letter. And it really helps her learning all these little grammar pieces in writing and essay work. And then of course it's just lots of fun too, because they get to play little games with spelling and stuff and typing, and she loves that. Then this year the following year, so her second grade, we learned about BookShark. And I was lenient on BookShark at first because I love Timberdoodle. I would never switch from Timberdoodle. I adore their curriculum. My daughter, my son, myself, and my husband, and most likely probably our littlest one too, we do have ADHD. And honestly, the Timberdoodle curriculum helps so much. I wish somebody had taught me how to read with All About Reading when I was Callie's age. Callie and I both have dyslexia, and well, I assume she does. I definitely do. I'm assuming that's what's going on with hers as well. But if somebody had taught me to read the way All About Reading is teaching, I would never have had the problems I had. I love reading now, but I just wish somebody had taught me it that way. Also, Matthew C. that Timberdoodle uses, I adore that, although I do believe BookShark also uses Matthew C. I really adore Matthew C, and I adore how well that they teach math. I love the video lessons. I know they're not necessarily secular, but I've never come across anything I don't like. I like their video lessons. So far, I haven't ever seen anything that isn't non-religious in nature. I don't think they've ever mentioned religion and at all. I believe the company themselves is Christian, though. Just a heads up on that. So make your decision there based on what's right for your family. But it really works for our family, and we really like it. And my mental math has gotten much better using Matthew C. So those are things that I really appreciate knowing. I also, when we first started homeschooling, I did too much. I tried to do the homeschool co-ops. I tried to do the mom groups. I tried to do the library groups. I tried to do all the curriculum, like anything I could find, the free curriculum, the paid curriculum, all the curriculum. I tried to go and get books from the library, and not just like a book a week. I would get mountains of books every week from the library. And it was too much. It was too much for me to stay on top of. It was too much. And honestly, keeping things more simple was the thing that I needed to be reminded of at some point. I had to let myself know it, to be honest. I kind of just wish I had listened better when I realized you don't need all the things. There are free curriculum out there. There are paid curriculum out there. Whatever works best for your family is what is best for your family. And you don't need to go. I was so afraid of being told I didn't socialize my kids enough, which is just silly. But I was so afraid of it that I put them in everything. Like I said, every co-op, everything. We were running nonstop for the first 2 years. I don't even know if we got curriculum done properly. We were constantly feeling like we were behind because we were spending so much time running from one thing to the next thing. And I had 3 small kids. I had two small kids, and then my kindergarten, preschool, or first grader this whole time. And I'm like, why are we running from one thing to the other all the time? It's already a struggle with a 3-year, well, at the time, everywhere from 0 to 4. My oldest, or my middle child is 4 now. I mean, constantly running with 2 little tiny babies or toddlers at all times was just craziness. And I don't know why I did it. And I honestly just did it because I was so afraid that they would be socialized. And that is silly. So they're fine. Callie is more outgoing than she possibly needs to be. Riker is outgoing. Emma is probably right around the time that I started deciding this is silly and I don't need to do this. And she's just as outgoing as the other 2. They have no problems making friends. They have no problems talking to other people. They have 0 problems running off to do anything or having a conversation with somebody. They have friends. They are okay. And I didn't need to spend the first 2 years rushing from activity to activity and then coming home and wondering why we don't have time for curriculum. It was unnecessary. But if I keep going on everything else I wish I knew, this video will go on forever and you wouldn't have a chance to see the playlist from everybody else. So I will stop here and I will try to throw in anything else I think of in some future videos. So like I said, if you like these kind of videos, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you have any questions or any comments or anything like that, please go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to check out Davene and Shauna's channel and the playlist. I will link all that below. And I will also link Night Zookeeper, Explode the Code, Timberdoodle, BookShark, anything else I happen to randomly mention. I will link that below too for you. But I will talk to you guys later before this gets too long.